Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to enable the RTSP protocol on the WYZE Camera V3 so you can record and view footage on your PC. Right off the bat, at the time of recording this video, adding this protocol to your WYZE Camera V3 will not enable you to use it on the Hikvision NVR or Reolink NVR. More details on that to come, but if you're using WYZE on your PC, you're good to go. Now, in order to set up the RTSP or real-time streaming protocol, you're going to need access to your WYZE Camera V3, access to the camera over the WYZE app, a micro SD card, and a computer or some hardware to download the file and put it onto the memory card. The instructions are very similar to the V2 instructions, which I posted in a past video, but they're slightly different, so here's the update. Very quickly though, before we get started, here's what's on today's menu in case you want to jump ahead. I'll give you a quick summary of why you would want this protocol on the camera. Next, we'll check out what the current version is of the firmware that's already installed on the camera, followed by downloading the new RTSP enabled firmware. Once this is downloaded, we're going to step through the process of installing it onto the camera. We'll then start streaming the footage using VLC Media Player. Then we're going to add the camera to WYZE, the security camera management software for continuous recording. I'll show you how I tried to make this work on my Hikvision NVR and then my Reolink NVR. Oh yeah, I'll also show you how to put the firmware back to the original non-RTSP firmware afterwards in case you need to. The firmware that comes with the camera doesn't have this feature enabled, so why would you want to enable this feature anyways? So for me, the main reason is because this stream allows for integration into other devices to view the feed and record and playback footage. My preferred security camera management software is WYZE, and this is a single stop to see and playback all of my security cameras in one place. I don't want to log into a bunch of different apps to see the footage or fiddle around with their multiple ways of playing back previous recordings. WYZE does an excellent job with review and playback, and I want everything on one screen at one time. On my dedicated WYZE machine, I have an 8 terabyte hard drive installed, which keeps all of my footage for a couple of weeks, and no need to worry about uploading brand specific footage to an app's cloud or worrying about app subscriptions. Now, as WYZE did with the V2 camera, they didn't provide updates or multiple releases of the RTSP release. Only if there was a major bug fix, then maybe they would consider doing it. Developing, testing, and supporting 2 firmware versions at the same time is obviously a lot of work. They've added this feature for those who will use it as their primary access to the video and audio streams, and like myself, any feature within the app is just secondary. Before we proceed any farther, let's verify what our current version is. Go to the camera in the WYZE app and click on the gear icon in the upper right hand corner. Go to Device Info, and then you'll see Firmware Version. Mine is 4.36.8.15. In order to use this streaming feature from the WYZE Cam, we're going to need to update or flash the camera's firmware. This may sound intimidating, but I'm going to walk you through step by step of how to complete this task. To do this firmware swap, we're going to need to download the latest version of the RTSP software. I'm going to use my PC to download the file. I'll add a link in the description below to where you can find this. I'm also going to take my micro SD card and put it into my card reader. I'll make sure that the card reader is connected to my computer. Here on the download page, you can see the file for the V3 RTSP file. Once I have it downloaded, I'm going to open up the zip file and copy its contents to the root of my micro SD card. This means don't put it in any folder. The file does not need to be renamed like it did for the old V2 camera. Next, we want to take the micro SD card from the card reader and plug it into the camera. So let's get this unplugged. Now, with the card inserted into the camera, we want to power it back up while pressing on the reset button on the bottom of the camera. When the camera starts back up, the light will be purple. then it will flash and turn to a solid blue. This means that the procedure is a success and the firmware has been updated. Now we're going to jump into the app and check out the firmware version. Yes, I can see that it has been updated to 4.61.3. Now we're going to go to the advanced settings on the settings page and scroll down to the bottom, and now we see the option for RTSP. We will turn that option on. So let's go ahead and enter a username of Rick and password of password generate. And now I have my URL to access the RTSP stream. Let's go try it out. Let's run our first test using the VLC Media Player. Now this is free software. I've got my PC right here with the software on it. And let's open up the Media Player and we go to Media and Open Network Stream. I've already entered in the URL, so click on play. And that's it, we're in, as easy as that. So there is a 2-second lag. Let's see what the sound is like. So again, the sound is coming through, which is great because that wasn't an option with V2. So I'm actually really happy with this. The quality looks great. Let's move on. Let's now jump over to my preferred security camera management tool, WYZE. It's on this PC and I've installed the evaluation version just for demo purposes. WYZE does come with a 15-day trial, or you can buy a license for just $70 American, which is a pretty awesome deal. I've been using it for many years now. Links for more information are in the description. Let's add a camera to a channel and start recording continuously to my PC. So we want to start off by right-clicking to add a camera, and we're going to name this WYZE V3, and we're going to enable audio, turn off motion detection, and add direct to disk so that we're not using up excessive PC processing power. The protocol here is RTSP, and then enter the IP address plus the /live path. Notice that you cannot select the make and model below because RTSP doesn't care about those details. But let's say you selected HTTP as the protocol, then the make and model are now enabled and /live gets populated in the mainstream profile. Enter your credentials. Thanks, Rick. Update the brand to WYZE and V3 using RTSP is automatically selected. This is a failsafe in case you select HTTP, but as you can see from the model, we're using the RTSP protocol. Click OK. Still here on the video tab, it's not required, but I like to select NTSC as the frame rate. Uncheck display overlays so that I don't have two timestamps on top of each other. On the record tab, I'm going to select continuous, and now we're done. So you can see why WYZE is my favorite software. It looks great and the lag is pretty minimal here. Let's do a quick audio test and you can tell the lag is much shorter now. If you're interested in WYZE, I have created a few videos on using it and my dedicated build. So I have a PC totally dedicated for WYZE and all of my cameras. I also have a video showing how to take advantage of the many performance and tuning options that WYZE offers. Up next, we are going to add the camera to my Hikvision NVR. Long story short, I was not able to get the live feed from the WYZE camera to show on the Hikvision NVR. It works fine for the V2 camera, like I demoed in a past video, but it would not work for this one. I added the WYZE protocol with the /live folder, and then I added it to a channel and used the right IP address and credentials, but no dice. From the NVR's perspective, everything looks okay. When I attempted to play the feed, the icon is green, indicating that the stream is flowing like it did for the V2, but the channel remains black. It's a similar story for the Reolink NVR. You can select RTSP as a protocol, but the device is unable to find the camera stream. And it gave me an invalid address error as soon as I entered any letters like the word live in the IP address field. So let's say you went ahead and you updated the firmware and it's not working out and you want to revert it back to the original or the most up-to-date for the WYZE Cam V3. You can find that most recent version of the firmware on the release notes and firmware page under V3. I'll add a link in the description below for that as well. To install this version of the firmware, follow the exact same steps that we demonstrated when installing the RTSP firmware. I hope that you found this information helpful in learning how to set up and take advantage of the RTSP protocol on the WYZE Cam version 3. We've updated the firmware on the camera and demoed how to stream the audio and video to VLC and Blue Iris. There are limitations in getting the stream to function on the Hikvision NVR and the Reolink NVR, but who knows, maybe there will be an update in a future release for the camera or for the NVRs. I'll add links to the WYZE Cam in the description, as well as a link to check out Blue Iris's evaluation version. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more home tech DIY projects that you can do yourself. Thanks for watching. But the channel remains black. And my house is falling apart.